I screamed my head off, but it took a couple of seconds before my brain registered that I was staring at was neither bear nor serial killer. It was just one of my sisters. Hi, it's Will again. And this time, I'll tell you how my psycho sisters entered my tent at night, and how I ended up having paparazzi hounding me while they snapped pictures of me and the First Lady kissing. As I sat as far back in the tent as I could and flailed the book that I was hoping would protect me from a potential bear attack, one of my sisters hurriedly entered my tent and put her hands over my mouth. Shh! Why are you screaming so much? You'll wake everyone! Why are you here? Why are you all here? What are you doing? Then, one after another, all 6 of my sisters got into my tent. Just shush. Yeah, don't make such a racket. We're here for your own good. We can't trust Carrie. She might try and get in here while we're not looking. I sighed in annoyance. Isn't that exactly what you're doing? Sneaking around and coming here while no one's watching? It's not the same! My sisters were about to convince me that they had a right to be in my tent when suddenly a strong gust swept across our campsite, threatening to blow us all away. Overhead, the unmistakable sound of a helicopter got closer and closer. Who was taking a chopper ride that late at night? And who in the world was coming to the camp that I was certain I'd booked exclusively for our company? My sisters and I squeezed out of the tent, and when we got out, we saw that everyone else was just as curious to see what the disturbance was about. We saw the manager of the camp awkwardly half running, half hopping towards us. I'm so sorry about this. I did tell them that the whole camp was booked for the week, but it's impossible to say no. Please, if there's anything I can do... But before the man could finish his sentence, the occupants of the helicopter that just landed stepped out, and one of my sisters gasped in awe. It's the president! Oh my God! And there's the First Lady! Soon, the whole camp erupted in cheers and claps. The president and his wife waved back at the people who were no longer so annoyed their sleep was disturbed. The manager told us that the president and the First Lady always went to the camp every year, but that this week their trip was earlier than expected. In the morning, we all met each other at the camp's mess hall for the buffet breakfast. As if we were old friends, the president approached us and we began talking. I noticed that his wife kept staring at me, but I tried my best to keep my attention focused on the president, who was enthusiastically talking about how much he wanted to go fishing with me in the lake. When he went to get more coffee, what happened next gives me goosebumps to this day. The First Lady stood from her seat, took my hand, and sat on my lap. What are you doing? My head swiveled left, right, and almost all the way around in panic. If any of their guards saw what she did, I'd have my head on the chopping block. Relax, it's just us. Yeah, right, it was just us. My employees and my sisters were all at the same table, all of whom were too shocked to react. My sisters, too, who usually would slap any girl who came near me, were dumbstruck. How would they ever be able to confront the wife of the president? The First Lady made me sit again, and that time, she didn't sit on me. She just wrote her number down on a piece of paper and slipped it in my pocket. That's my direct line. Call me. What? How? Why? You don't even know me. Oh, I've been watching you. You've made quite a lot of noise. From being nobody to owning the country's best modeling agency? You're quite the impressive man, William. From that day on, I no longer had peace. I never called that number, but she called me. Every day. And every morning when I got to our offices, I would see one of her bodyguards standing outside my doors, carrying some sort of gift. Some days it was flowers, some days it was expensive designer suits, some days even the guy would be carrying a metal suitcase filled with some of the most outrageous jewelry I've ever seen in my life. Every time I sent the guy away without accepting the First Lady's gifts, of course. She's married after all. And I have a girlfriend. One day, I received a text from her saying, "Look out the window." And high up in the sky was a plane that carried a banner with my name and a message on it. "Stop ignoring me, Will," the banner said. When will she ever stop? Never, it turned out. Because after 2 weeks of all of that, the First Lady closed down my entire street. She bought her army of personal guards, and with one word from her, they evacuated my whole building. She came up to me, and with a very serious look on her face, she demanded that I go out with her. Madam First Lady, I have a girlfriend, and you're married. This can't happen. Your husband's the most powerful man in the country. He'll have me killed if he finds out. If he finds out. And besides, he's married to the most powerful woman in the country. So shush and come with me. As if I had any choice in the matter, her guards dragged me by my arms and pushed me into a limo with her. She blindfolded me, and when we got to our destination, she gave me a kiss and whispered in my ear, "You can take the blindfold off now." We were in a private jet, and it was already in the air. Where are you taking me? Somewhere the president can't find us. That somewhere was a private island. For an entire week, she kept me there. She made me serve her, she made me put on a butler's uniform, and she demanded that I cater to her every whim. And although I didn't want to do a single thing for her, I obeyed anyway. Who knows what she would have done if I refused? She probably had a few snipers working for her. In the mornings, I would open the curtains in her room and bring her breakfast. I also had to feed her food by hand. And then she would make me put her shoes on and accompany her to the beach. I would carry an umbrella for her the whole time. At night, I would serve her dinner and tuck her into bed. And the cycle went on until the week was over. I thought it was over. Instead, she flew me to Paris, where she dragged me along to go to several museums with her. And then we hit all of her favorite restaurants. From there, we drove to the south of France to visit her friend's vineyard in the countryside. She made me feed her grapes and massage her feet when she got tired. When we went into the small village nearby, I noticed that some people were giving us weird stares. I was certain they recognized her as the First Lady. I told her this, but she wouldn't listen. Instead, she insisted that I hold her hand and kiss her. Kiss me. Kiss me right now. Right here in front of everyone. Or suffer the consequences. What? What can you do that you haven't already done to me? I can ruin your company in the blink of an eye. And your ugly, poor girlfriend will never be able to work ever again. Your choice. I had to kiss her. I couldn't throw away everything I'd worked for, and I could never forgive myself if I caused Carrie any harm. So, I did. And the moment my lips met hers, cameras began clicking like crazy all around us. When I looked to see where it was coming from, I saw a bunch of men in vests with cameras just a few meters from us. I could instantly tell they were paparazzi. I swore under my breath. The First Lady, still oblivious, asked me, "What?" "They took our photo, you stupid idiot! There were paparazzi following us! I told you this wasn't safe! You're gonna get me killed!" She snapped at her bodyguards. "What are you waiting for? Catch them and destroy the evidence!" Within seconds, I heard several cameras breaking against the cobblestones of the village square. Her bodyguards were professionals, after all. But one of the paparazzi got away. And before anyone could even guess where he went, we heard his voice as a car engine began to rev. "You won't get me, suckers! I'm gonna be rich!" And he was right. The First Lady never did get him. The next week, our faces were across every newspaper and magazine, and we were very obviously kissing. My sisters would not talk to me. And Carrie, she slapped me and never talked to me after that. One by one, the designers and companies who loved signing our models at the agency stopped calling. Everywhere I went, a journalist would be there to ask me about my affair with the First Lady. I got so fed up with all of it that I decided not to get out of my house. I was having trouble sleeping. Every night I went to bed scared of what was going to happen. And any time I would leave the house, people would whisper and point at me. It was all anyone talked about. That wasn't even what bothered me the most. What scared me was the president. We all knew what he did to his enemies. I could only imagine what he would do to the guy who kissed and scandalized his wife. One night, I heard footsteps in the apartment. I knew it couldn't have been my sisters. They were all at a late photo shoot. So I silently opened my bedroom door to listen closer. I saw people in suits. One of them said into an earpiece, "We're in, sir. Would you like us to neutralize the target?" And then, from the other side of the line, the president's voice said, "Affirmative." I ran as fast as I could, out of my window and down the side of my house. I didn't care that the fall hurt. I hadn't contacted anyone in months. I left the country and now I live on a remote island. I can only wonder what happened when I left.